Welcome to the Cooking Matters at Home Snacking Workshop. My name is Connie. I'm the Cooking Matters Program Coordinator here at the Tarrant Area Food Bank, and this is Cheryl, one of our program specialists here at the Tarrant Area Food Bank. And we have a guest nutrition person who is Holland, and she's a dietetic intern, and she's training here at the Tarrant Area Food Bank. Today we're going to be talking about snacking, how to incorporate our snacking into with our kids and having our kids work with us a little bit more in the kitchen. So today's expectation, if you can please participate in our programming by chatting in. So you could tap on a chat box, click the drop down arrow, and click all panelists and attendees. That way everybody can participate and everybody knows what's going on. So if you signed up on Eventbrite, we have downloaded a handout, a Cooking Matters at Home handout, also a Cooking Matters activities for kids handout, and a My Plate poster. So if you have access, you could pull those up right now. So what is your favorite snack? So today we're going to be talking a little bit about snacks and how we can incorporate these snacks into our lives. So today's objective is we're going to demonstrate making a healthy homemade snack with the ingredients that you have at home. We're going to share some tips about saving time and buying and preparing healthy snacks. We're going to also talk about involving kids in our snacks, because a lot of times if they make the snacks or foods, they will eat them. And then we're going to discuss the different foods from that usually have lower unit prices, so we can buy snacks with a better price and shop quickly and still save some money. So, what do you think having a healthy snack means? So, if you look at the My Plate poster that you found in your handout, you see that the My Plate has about 5 food groups. So what we want to do is we want to talk about how we can incorporate a healthy snack. So with a healthy snack, you only need 2 food groups. So some of the favorite snacks that we have chatted in are baby carrots and Oreos. That's my favorite too, Oreos. So we're going to talk about how we can incorporate only 2 food groups to make a healthy snack. So today we're going to be demonstrating how to bring some foods that's in your pantry, refrigerator, or elsewhere into your healthy snacks. So we're going to do some apple wraps. So these apple wraps are pretty easy. All you need is 1 apple, 2 bananas, some peanut butter, and some tortillas. So a lot of times we're like, oh, I don't have all of this at home. So what you want to do is you want to just incorporate some other stuff. So if you don't like apples, or your children don't like apples, then what you can do is you could change it. Use peaches or pears. That's a different thing. If you don't have the wraps, you don't have to use whole wheat wraps. You could use flour wraps, or you can use bread, whatever's easiest for you. you just want to make sure you know that recipes are just a guideline. So let's get started on making these apple wraps. So these apple wraps consist of one apple. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut our apples and we're gonna dice them. And when we dice them, we're gonna make sure that we leave the skin on. And you say, why are we leaving the skin on these apples? Well, easy enough. The skin has a lot of nutrients and we don't want to get rid of those nutrients. We want to make sure that we have all the nutrients in our snacks. So I'm just gonna kind of dice them up. And we know that it's a little bit difficult sometimes to decore your apples. So that's why I sliced it around like a square and I left the core out of it. Ooh, toast with peanut butter and honey and a banana peanut butter wrap with Nutella. So this is a great way to get that banana peanut butter wrap in. So sometimes we want a little crunchiness, right? So we have apples this time, but any crunchiness is fine. Most of the time when we snack, we want sweet or crunchy, so we try to make sure that we get our sweet and crunchy in. So it's all about trying to make it so that it's easy enough for the kids. So I have some grandkids. So what I like to do when I'm making this snack at home is to make sure that I do all the knife skills first. So that's cutting up the apples and cutting up the bananas, and that way they can be involved. They're 3 and 4, and look at that apple, all chopped up. Now today I used Honeycrisp. So Honeycrisp has a little more sweetness into it. So you can use whatever type of apple you want. I just chose Honeycrisp. Yesterday when I was shopping, that was my feeling. Let's get some Honeycrisp. So I'm chopping up the bananas, and I just usually just chop them up into slices, just to make sure that they fit on a wrap. And it's 2 bananas, 1 apple. So here you go. The banana is all chopped up. So what I normally do at my home is I like to make sure that they get involved, and that's what we want you to make sure that they get involved. So what I do is I put the bananas and apples on each side. And that way I have one on one side, one on the other, and nobody's fighting, right? We want to make sure everything is perfect for them. So I take the wraps and I take my 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and this is for 2 wraps, and I just spread it on there. So it's about 1 tablespoon per wrap. Just want to spread that on there. And put our bananas on here. And I usually have one of the kids put the bananas on there just so they could feel like they're doing something. And we can eat these for breakfast in the morning. So this is something quick that we could use for breakfast. We could also eat it as a snack like we're doing today, but we can also eat it for dinner or any time during the day. We work in our garden all the time. And when they're by me, they like to work in the garden. And so it's hot sometimes and they don't want to sit at the table and eat. So what we do is we make simple snacks that you could find on cookingmatters.org and make sure we have the thing. So One of the questions is, how would you keep the fruits from browning? So with the apples, I would probably, if I'm gonna let them sit for a long period of time, what I would do is put them in some lemon water. So just let it sit in some lemon water. With the bananas, I normally don't do anything with them until it's time for me to use them. And this one is a little overstuffed because I had that beautiful Honeycrisp apple, but you know, you want to use whatever you like. And I was discussing this with some of my coworkers. If you want, you could use these and put pinwheels, and you could have pinwheels and the children could just eat a small bite. Also, if you have little hands, you might want to put it in a little cup and they could hold it like that. Perfect. They come out really good. It makes everything worthwhile. We have 3 food groups in this meal. So you want to make sure that you could use it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or even a snack. So I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl, and she's going to talk to you about healthy snacking. Cheryl?
Thank you, Connie. This looks delicious. I can't wait to try this a little bit later. So we have a couple of questions on our next slide if you want to chat in some responses to this. How often are your kids snacking? So I hear this sometimes from caregivers. They say the kids are always asking for a snack, 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 snack all day long. Well, kids do need some snacks because their stomachs are relatively small, their bodies are growing. So they do need 1 or 2 snacks a day, depending upon their age and level of activity. However, you want to keep these snacks not too close to a meal so that they're hungry enough to have their main meal of the day. So some of you mentioned that you have things like baby carrots and Oreos. So those are a couple of opposite kinds of snacks. So Oreos, that's a sometimes food. That's something that has what we call empty calories. It has calories, but it really doesn't offer much in the way of nutrition. So we'd like our snacks to be nutrient dense like these that contain, like start with a vegetable or a fruit of some kind. Because what we want to limit in our diets are things like sugar, salt, and extra fat. So I have a question, what age should kids stop snacking? That's a tough one because like I said, that really depends upon their activity level. If they're into sports, they're gonna need a couple of snacks going on. That's really, I'm sorry, that's a good question, but that's really tough to answer. That's really individual. Because also in the afternoon, we may have an afternoon slump, even as adults, and that's a good time to have a piece of fruit or something to kind of get your brain back awake. Thank you for that. Thank you for being interactive. So if we can start with like a vegetable or a fruit for our snack, that's going to be, ahead of the game here with our nutrients. And kiddos, sometimes if you just put out an apple, they're not going to be as willing to have this unless you have it already sliced or prepared in some way. And the issue was brought up about apples browning. So if you want to have apple slices available for your kiddos, you can put them in the lemon water or orange juice and put them in like a plastic baggie to have those available for them in the refrigerator. Or vegetables cut up like the baby carrots, or chopped chunks of broccoli that they can use with a bean dip or a salad dressing or something like that. If they're available and handy and they don't have to mess with it, they're more likely to have that. Just have it available. So if we start with that idea, what would be some examples? Well, like this, or just apple slices and peanut butter. Some people like ants on a log, peanut butter and celery with the raisins on top. Or another idea would be like yogurt and fruit. And all of these we're having 2 of our food groups like Connie was talking about. So if anybody has any comments about what's different now on their snacking. Okay, so Holland is going to come next virtually, and she's going to discuss ways we can make healthy snacking easier because we know that sometimes there are some barriers to healthy snacking. So Holland, are you with us?
Good morning, everybody. I apologize that you can't see me, but we're going to push forward. Okay, so I'm a dietetic intern at Tarrant Area Food Bank, and today I'm going to talk with you all about barriers to healthy snacking and how we can overcome those challenges. So I'll also be providing you with a few ideas in doing so. So before we get started, I want to open by asking, what makes it hard to eat healthier snacks for you? Okay, I'll give you guys a few moments to respond, but I'm going to go ahead and go into the challenges that we could be faced with as a caregiver. I see someone said variety. That's a great point to point out. We'll be discussing this topic within the challenges. So let's go ahead and move on. So one challenge you may be faced with would be package less healthy snacks or more convenient. An idea in overcoming this would be to prep fruit and vegetable snacks or other healthy snacks in baggies, such as like the Ziploc serving size bags or small storage containers. You can also keep non-perishable healthy snacks in convenient places, such as your car, a purse, the pantry. And as for refrigerated items, you can keep these up front and ready to pull out. That way, when you open the refrigerator, that's the first thing you see. So your instinct is going to be to grab the most convenient thing that's in front. Another challenge would be package less healthy snacks seem less expensive. Well, actually, in today's lesson, we will be learning about foods that are affordable, and you will understand that at the end of this lesson, package isn't always cheaper. Another issue that can arise for some caregivers is being short on time. So a way to break this barrier would be to designate a day during the weekend or whenever you have time, and you can spend as little as 15 minutes tops creating healthy snacks for the whole week. So involve your kids. This makes good family time, and they're also getting a chance to learn in the kitchen setting. You can also make larger batches for certain things, such as trail mix. And by doing so, you can divide into single serving size bags as well for easy snacking throughout the whole week. And this also cuts down time needed for preparation and cooking. And then another example of a challenge that you may be faced with would be my kids beg for the packaged stuff all the time. And this is totally relatable. I have a little one running around, and he's always wanting, a bag of chips or crackers, things like that. So some ideas would be to make snacks together. Kids, not only are they helping you with the preparation and doing so, but they're also getting the time that they really want to spend with you. You can serve food in fun ways, such as making faces with fruits or vegetables that are cut up to make it fun and more enticing for the younger ones. And you can also have kids make homemade versions of their favorite snacks. For example, using real tortillas to make tortilla chips. Little kids can also help too. So their small hands can be used, for example, scooping seeds out of fruit such as cantaloupe or mashing beans with a fork for dips. They can also do simpler tasks such as stirring fruit into yogurt or sprinkling seasoning or spices. And also, it's important to remember that kids are always watching you as a caregiver. If you are eating more healthy homemade snacks rather than the packaged snacks, kids are going to sense this and they will want to do the same in the long run. So thank you guys for letting me talk a little bit about some barriers you may be faced with. And I'm now going to direct it back to Cheryl.
Okay, Holland, thank you. So we've got some chat that has come in. I want to address a few of these. One issue is that their child is allergic to many fresh fruits, and they want to know if dried is a good option. This is kind of a medical question. I would think that since an allergy is a reaction to a protein, that it would probably still be present in the dried fruit as well. But that's really something you need to check with your doctor or a registered dietitian about. We've also had a question about getting organized, which is kind of leading into one of my next points, that when you're planning your menu for the week, plan for your snacks. Plan to have those items purchased. So you're not, running to the vending machine or you don't know what to do and you are grabbing those fast food kinds of things. So if you can plan for that and shop for that ahead of time, there are things that you can have on hand. So you can have like your fresh fruit, like your fresh whole fruit. And you said sometimes kiddos like them a little bit, processed for them. So then sometimes you can get your fruit frozen. So this is a great handy thing to have because it has a long shelf life. And then you have canned. And canned fruit is just as nutritious as fresh or frozen, but we need to be cautious if there's added sugar. So that's another one of those things. We have to read our labels to see that we're not getting too much added sugar. But these are all good options, fresh, frozen, and canned. Each one has its pros and its cons. Fresh is going to have the best texture. Canned, of course, is going to be the cooked texture, and frozen is going to be a little softer. But that's great for a smoothie or stirring it into yogurt. So it depends upon how you like them. And if you have the fresh, you can pre-package them yourself. So when we're looking at the packages, you may have noticed that if you're looking at unit prices on the shelf, like Walmart will have those lovely unit prices under your items. That if you get a large container of something, like a large container of applesauce, the unit cost or the cost per ounce is going to be a lot less in the larger container. So if you can invest in a one-time expenditure of the small containers, you can put the applesauce in your own containers and have those available for the kiddos. Also, that's going to be less trash. Just something we're also trying to be a little more conscious of our environments. Another thing when you're shopping you might want to look out for is see if the store brand of whatever you're buying is going to be cheaper than your name brand, because almost always it is. And usually these things are actually processed at the same production facility. They put one label on one batch and the other label on the other batch. I found that my favorite national brand of peanut butter is actually the same brand that Walmart puts their label on, and it saves me about $1 a jar. So $1 here, 50 cents there, you're saving up money every time you go to the store. I want to address, somebody else talked about breaking bad habits. Boy, that is a big one. It's really hard breaking habits, and it can take, depending upon who you ask, 6 weeks to 3 months to get a good habit. So you really have to do a replacement thing when you're talking about habits. You got to replace one habit with another habit. You can't just have a void there. See, I'm never going to snack again. That isn't going to work. So to break a bad habit, you got to have a new plan. Like I said, planning those snacks, having it available, taking it with you. When I'm teaching classes out on the road, I have my own apple slices that I keep with me. That's my go-to snack because that good fiber in them is kind of filling, and that helps. Another point that was brought up is kids are going to want what other kids are eating. Yeah, that's a tough one, and it's tough for them to say, well, I choose to eat healthfully. That's peer pressure, that's going to be an issue their whole lives, and kiddos just have to learn that to make their own decisions. You do what's good for you. This is what I'm doing because I value my health. And not everybody eats the healthy food. Yes, I've seen this in the school cafeterias, a lot of wasted food. That is a problem. But you're not going to be perfect all the time. It's not like all or nothing. It's not like you have to have fruits and vegetables every day. If you can just get one more serving of fruits or vegetables into their daily routine, that's a good step. That's a step in the right direction. So just little steps, kind of work it in and keep trying. If they refuse one day, maybe they'll try it the next day. Or maybe if you tell them Johnny down the street is eating broccoli, everybody has to get their own tricks, because everybody's an individual. So little steps, one at a time. Get some fruits and vegetables. Find out what works for your family. Okay, so Connie's going to come and wrap things up for us today.
Thank you, Cheryl. And I want to thank Holland for coming to be our guest speaker today. And just let's talk a little bit about what you learned today. So what do you think about the snack? Did anybody try to make this snack while you was on a call? Would you think that your family would try this at home? And what kind of changes would you make to this snack? I mean, everybody doesn't like apples. Everybody doesn't like bananas. Like Cheryl said, the consistency of a frozen fruit or vegetable may change. So you don't have to use bananas either. You can use something else on the top. So it's always about making the recipe work for you. And having kids is hard enough. Adding cinnamon, wow. I love cinnamon and it's great for the body. So that's something that we could add to give it a little different flavor. The Honey Crisp are really sweet, but maybe you have some other apple. It's not apple season. It is now, but it's not apple season. And the apples are not sweet enough. So you may want to just add a little tiny bit of honey or maple syrup on the top just to make it a little bit sweeter for the kids. But they'll eat what you eat if you eat it with them. So now let's just talk a little bit about what we learned today, right? So we learned a lot about snacking, and snacking is a big part of our lives. Like Cheryl said, I don't think we ever stop snacking. We always are snacking. So these are some of the tips that we have today. So when you can make your own snacks at home, have those kiddos in that kitchen so they can help you out. Do it together. When I make stuff at home, my grandkids will talk about it the whole week until their mom bring them back over to my house because they want to be able to feel like they did something. So buy foods that in different forms. So you got apples. You want frozen apples, or you want applesauce or something like that. There's a lot of different forms that you can try. So, and you want to look at the packaging containers. If you buy a big jar of applesauce and you look at the unit prices, you'll see that it's a difference. So you want to make sure you do that. And you also want to look at the different brands. We have Skippy here today only because that was the peanut butter I saw when I went into the store. And I looked on the ingredients list and saw it just had peanuts in there. So, but you see a generic brand that's the same price or less, then purchase that generic price, that generic product. And then the most important thing is you want to encourage the kids to do healthy snacks. So anytime you eat a healthy snack, they will eat that healthy snack. So today, what we want to do is we want to thank you for joining us, and I hope you learned a lot. If you weren't able to download your booklet or your activity guide or your MyPlate, we will send it out with also all of the resources. So, and I also want to just make sure that you know that you could go to cookingmatters.org, or you can go to their app, which is you could download on your phone. So those are two easy ways that you could get recipes. And you could also follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also, Tarrant Area Food Bank, we're all over the place too. So you want to make sure that you look for us. So with the Tarrant Area Food Bank, you could go to our Facebook, our Instagram, or our Twitter. You could also follow us. You could go to our website at tafb.org. And you could, if you want to see some more of these classes, you could go to tarrantareafoodbank.eventbrite.com. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later.